Okay. We'll call this meeting in order. Jack, you want to lead us in the pledge tonight?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everybody tonight, and just in case you don't know, on my left, it'll be your right, is Jack Quintel, he's a new councilman. And on my immediate right is Robert Sefton, he is a new councilman. It's on my left, your right, he is a new councilman also. And you know the three of us, we've been here for a few days. So we'll start right off with the town clerk's report. Or no, we're gonna approve minutes. We have 3 meetings to approve the minutes. December 13th, December 27th, and January 3rd.
I'll make that
Motion by Brian,
second, Kevin.
second by John to approve the minutes for those 3 meetings subject to correction by the clerk. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Town clerk's report.
The clerk's monthly report for December 2023. Marriage licenses of $35, clerk fees of $49.25, certified copies and genealogy copies of $132, landfill and punch cards, $16,436, short-term rentals, $600, dog licensing, $328, building permits, $51, bringing a total local shares remitted of $17,631.25.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor's report, December 31st, we ended the month with $1,925,928.54. Assessor's report.
Work continues on 2024 set reassessment project. There were 49 sales in Warrensburg for the 2024 assessment sales cycle, July 1st, 2022, to June 30th, 2023. Of these, 40 were residential properties, 2 were commercial properties, and 7 were land parcels. Please note the above sales reflect the assessment cycle as cited above, not January through December calendar year sales. The above sales do not include non-arm's length transfers such as foreclosures, sales to family members, tax and distress sales. Senior citizens renewals were scheduled to be mailed out during the 3rd week of January to coincide with Social Security, retirement, bank, and other income statements needed to qualify for the larger property exceptions. Seniors have up to March 1st to submit new applications and their renewals.
And on our reval, to my knowledge, the reval is going very, very well. I think they've been out and got pictures of every property. And right now, our vendor, who is working with Greg, they're in the process of reevaluating all these properties. I hope to have something out early summer so we can get this all wrapped up by the fall, the new assessment. Nothing from the Animal Control Officer, Planning Board?
There were 3 land use development permits issued the month of December. The zoning board does not have a meeting this month. The planning board had their meeting on January 2nd and reviewed applications for site plan review for North Country Ministries and for the Warrensburg Laundry at 11 Richards Avenue. Both are planning on constructing additions to their facilities. North Country Ministry needs to provide a final plan for the board to review. The Warrensburg Laundry's application was approved. Planning board will meet on the first Tuesday at 6 p.m. each month, pending receipt of applications.
Okay, and John, I skipped over justice.
Certainly. Just support Judge Fisk for 39 cases, led to fines of $2,625, fees of $302, and $1,108 in surcharges. Judge Ferrello heard 57 cases, collected fines of $33,725, fees of $90, and $1,610 in surcharges. Total cases for December were 78. Total dollars received in December, $9,460. And that's just support.
Okay, code enforcement.
Okay, attended the Main Street grant webinar. A copy of the program was printed and placed in the file for this project. Then a warning notice, the owner of 167 River Street for erection of a fence with no permit. Sent a non-formal letter to the CEO of Dollar General regarding lighting in the parking lot, lights there. Issued one new short-term rental, sent notice of all burn permits to the fire company. Night patrol for parking violations from midnight to 6 a.m. after discussion with Highway Superintendent Pennick. Placed 31 notices of the upcoming parking ban. For those who don't know that, it's from midnight till 6 in the morning from December 1st till April 1st. Responded to inquiries for 3885 Main Street. Discussed parking on the sidewalk and what could possibly be a squatter in the residence of the sheriff. Revisited nighttime parking, issued 24 warning notices and issued one violation notice for a vehicle previously warned. Followed up on a right-of-way for the residents of Beswick Drive. Renewed 2 of the last remaining expiring short-term rental permits, so they're 100% complete. The house issue on Route 28 is resolved, and the house has been demolished and all debris has been removed from the property, ending the town's interest in this violation.
And the last report we're gonna report on today will be the landfill. On the landfill, we actually did pretty well. We broke a little bit better than even this past year. We were able to pay for our landfill, all our tipping fees, and pay for our employee out of what we take in the landfill. So it was a good year for us at the landfill. The reported committees, they're all posted. They're out on the website, every one of those reports. If anybody has any questions about any of those reports, you can please bring it to us. Communications, I received a letter from Warrensburg Emergency Services to move forward with the acquisition of land adjacent to the building on King Street. We have a resolution we're gonna do in the future, a little bit down further in our agenda about what we discussed about in 2022 about them expanding their building over there on King Street. Received notification from USDA about possible rural development grant funding in the amount to move ahead with the new water well development. And we applied for funding from USDA to do some more development of that well that we want to do in the Hudson Street area of Warrensburg. And right now, once the federal government passes their budget, we should get awarded the funding to be able to do our well development over there on the Hudson Street side of Warrensburg. It should be an amount of around $40,000. And I want to thank Chris Belden and Lake George Regional Planning Board. They went to work with Cedarwood Engineering to apply for this funding for us. So that will help us along with that. Now, next is a resolution request for the state legislature, and it's Senate Bill S7696 and Assembly Bill A8183. It's a home rule request entitled "An Act to Amend the Real Property Tax Law and the Real Property Tax Law and the Real Property Tax Law in relation to the taxation of property owned by cooperative corporation." The bill enacted will allow the town the ability on how it assesses the values of condominiums. This has been bannered about for quite a while by different communities and in the town. And I think a year ago, the governor signed a home rule request from Skinny Atlas out in the central part of the state that allows them to go in and assess condominiums different than what they're being assessed now. As an example, and don't quote me on these numbers, but I believe a condominium was assessed for like $240,000 to $350,000, and the condominium sold for $2.5 million. Would raise the question about are we assessing these condominiums properly? Now, this bill will not allow us to go back and assess any prior condominiums. They stay at their current assessment rate. But going forward, if somebody goes into a condominium project, the assessor will have the right, if this law is enacted, to go in and assess them more to market value of what a condominium is selling for. Now, we're not the only town requesting that. Most of the towns in the county are doing this. We have to do it this way. We have to request that the assembly pass the bill. And what it does, it will allow the town of Warrensburg, we could move forward with a local law allowing us to assess that. So, does anybody have any questions? I'll answer them to the best of my ability.
So other.
Anybody in the
condominiums-
audience? Sure, just come up to the mic and state your name.
Are there many condominiums in the area that are not assessed properly from your perspective?
Most of them.
And even though this law gets passed, or,
We can't go back.
but you can't go out to those and reassess them?
No.
That seems pretty silly.
Not the way it was explained to me. The way it's explained to me and the way I've heard it explained, you can't go back, but in the future, and I don't know if you know anymore,
And
Jack.
it also will require you to assess them in a new way. For the future ones, even, it just gives you the flexibility to adopt a local law.
Right, this is all that does, it allows us to do it.
But if homes can be reassessed, condominiums cannot be? Is that what you're saying?
No. He's saying according to the way that the town could elect to assess condominiums in the future, not reassessment generally, but in this specific manner, this law, if it was passed, would give flexibility to the board just for those future ones, but not reassessment generally. I don't know if that's answering your question, but
It doesn't. I mean,
reassessment,
if my home's reassessed and it goes up, condominiums should do the same thing.
and that's not what we're talking about. We're not
Oh,
talking about
okay.
we're talking about assessment methodologies.
Yeah,
for
This
condominiums.
is just pertaining, the Assessors Association has come to us and said, they've come to a lot of the communities in Warren County and said, this is not fair. And the governor did a home rule request from Skinny Atlas that allowed them to make this change in the way they do assessments. So we're asking for the same opportunity as Skinny Atlas and anybody else who may be granted this. I know a lot of our neighboring towns have passed this already at their boards. And we have to get this into the legislature this month so we can try to get it passed through Albany to allow us to. And it's a home rule request. We still have to pass a local law if they allow us to do that.
If you wanted to.
If we
Go
wanted to,
through the
right.
local law process if that's not what you wanted to.
Okay.
So,
You never go around the phone rule.
no, home rule is the right way to do so, I
Gives you more
guess.
flexibility.
Yeah,
in
does
this.
anybody else have any questions about this? And basically what we're doing, we're asking the legislature to give us the ability to do a home rule to change our assessment. So, does somebody want to introduce it? John? Brian will second it. Any other discussion from board members? Okay, I'll ask Pam to call the roll call.
Councilperson Alexander?
Yes.
Councilperson Rowe?
Yes.
Supervisor Garrity?
Yes.
Councilperson Suffolk?
Yes.
Councilperson Quintel?
Yes.
Okay, then that is passed, and then we'll file this with the Assembly and the Senate, and we'll see where it goes from there. Okay, next I have two requests for Oxy tax. Oxy tax, the first one is $4,495, and this is paid for the expenses at the Warrensburg Bike Rally for 2023. The reason for the lateness is they had just gotten their report into us, and it's valid what they want, and I need a motion to approve the $4,495 for the Warrensburg Bike Week. Brian, John,
Sure.
any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next will be an Oxy tax request from the Warrensburg Beautification, and this is for the cost of farmers market. And this is the amount of $5,509.18, and this is actually to pay for most of the expenses that they incur at the farmers market. And I went through all the bills. A lot of this is advertising, a lot of it's for special events. And going forward, all the special events will be held at the recreation field in 2024. And when they have a festival, we're moving them up there for safety reasons to the recreation field. Say motion approved. John, second?
Yes.
Second by Brian. Discussion? No discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. All right. Next, I have a request to purchase a new air compressor for a wastewater treatment plant. This is a replacement unit to match some of our current compressors we are using, and we'll replace an older model, which we got 20 years ago that was used when we purchased it. And it was for which one did we use this for, Tracy?
Oh, it's sand filter.
So yeah, when we put the sand filters in 2014, we got this air compressor used, and it doesn't owe us any money. The cost of a new air compressor would be $10,476, and it'll match our existing compressors. Motion by John. So we have a second by Jack. Discussion? Any questions? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, carried. Okay. Next, I'd like to offer congratulations to Larry Crandall, who retires this month after 38 plus years of service with the town. Larry, we appreciate Larry's time here, and we certainly will miss his knowledge and wish him the best of luck. Larry had a stellar career over there in the recreation field, a lot of changes since he's been here with the development of the fields, all the Christmas decorations. Larry spearheaded a lot of that, has a lot of knowledge, but we had him write it all down so we know where everything goes. And I just want to wish Larry the best and give him a round of applause from. Also, we asked the people who reside in the water district to help us in identifying the lines coming into their house. As you may or may not know, that the EPA is undertaking an assessment of all the lead pipes, and you have to remove all the lead pipes around the town or any going into anybody's house. So we've been trying to do it on a case-by-case basis, getting in, but what our water department has asked is people take a picture of the pipe coming into the house and giving it to the town. We're going to have a website set up so you can email it to us. And if you can't email it, you call us. We'll go out and we'll take a picture for you of the pipes coming in. We have to complete this in how long, Tracy?
October 2024.
So in October 2024, we have to have all this done. And I think we've started some, right?
Yes.
We have some knowledge, but the ones we don't have knowledge, we're asking everybody, it's up to us. We're not alone. The whole state of New York, nationwide has to do this. And
I just heard Joe Biden say it was already done.
well, I don't believe so. But anyways, we'll get working on it, but please give us a help. We're going to post it on our website if it's not already up there. We have a phone number you call our water sewer clerk. But if you can, in our peripheral with a camera, and you can take a picture and send it in to us, that would help us. But we will go out if you don't understand what we're looking for and do that. So that's important that we get it done.
You're just gonna put this on a website, what you said?
No, you can email your pictures into a website.
No, I'm saying to get it out, this information out to the public.
It's on our website, yeah.
Okay.
And we've already sent out notices, didn't we, did we send out notices
No, we
once?
put it on the website and we didn't do the color notices, but if you click on, it gives the whole instructions and you can click right on the website right in there.
I'm
To
just
put
wondering,
download
we're
your
not doing an
picture.
ad in the paper or nothing like
It
that.
says water and maintenance.
We
I
can.
think the next water bill we'd like to put.
Yeah, we had to wait for the color
Good idea.
picture.
We can also include it in the next billing cycle.
Just trying to get everybody
Yeah, well, yeah,
noticed,
yeah, we have 1,200 customers that we have to get it to, so, yeah. Okay. The King Street property. A few months back, we had a meeting with Warrensburg EMS about letting them extend their building over onto our property. And it's about 40 and a half feet of property towards the north next to their building. And they want to add on to their headquarters so they can start to do training out of the Warrensburg station. And they've grown quite a bit. They have 3 ambulances, but most of it is to centralize training. Warrensburg is a good spot to do training, and they do need the space over there. So we voted several months ago to allow them to do this. We have surveyed the property. We have a lot line adjustment ready to go, but I've been informed that we cannot just do, turn over this property to them by resolution. So I'm asking for the board is to do a permissive referendum to allow the town to transfer 40 and a half feet of our King Street property over to the Warrensburg EMS. It's a permissive referendum. We'll put it in the paper, and if anybody comes in and 5% of the population, I guess, comes in and complains about it, then we'll have a hearing on it and discuss it. But it's the right thing, as I said back then, I believe it now, it's the right thing to do for the EMS. And they're not gonna build a Taj Mahal. They're probably gonna use this area for, to park the ambulance as a garage space and probably just remodel the existing body, the existing building into some training space.
Jackie, you have a thought?
And especially for the newer members who've not been through this before.
What's that?
I said especially for the newer members who haven't been through this before, I just wanted to
Yeah.
make clear what Kevin is proposing is a resolution authorizing this conveyance through a boundary line adjustment to the EMS. From what I understand from previous discussions with the board, when this was first addressed,
Right.
this property was seen as surplus of nominal value, and it's simply a boundary line adjustment to convey a sliver of
Yes.
our lands over.
Yeah, we discussed this back then because we are gonna use the rest of the property for senior housing. That's what we got the New York 400 grant for, to remove the old building there. And we plan on putting senior housing on that lot. It won't impede, it does not affect the size of the lot. It's 40 feet, so.
And some of our mindset going back was that if we could build up our emergency squad a little bit, it's a pretty centralized location for Warren County. So in the event that we ever get to a Warren County base,
That's right.
it puts us in good favor that way, and hopefully it'll be an asset to the town.
Yeah.
More so than it is.
Like I said, this is the right thing to do, and I would ask your support. So somebody want to make a motion, but we do a permissive referendum. John? Brian, second that. Any further discussion from any? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, it carries. All right. These next three things we learned about today. We had a meeting. The town has been fortunate to get 2 grants awarded in late December. We had a $300,000 Main Street grant, which was awarded to a certain target area that they looked at on Main Street to help improve businesses. It could be roofs, it could be windows, it could be facades. And right now, we've had at least 2, if not 3 businesses come forward to seek out some of that funding for that. That was a $300,000 grant. And Flatley Reed is administering that for us. What we need to do is, eventually, I'm gonna have to enter in a contract with them to do the administration of that grant. Second grant we received shortly after that was a $500,000, $500,000 grant for, to make repairs to homes. And that is an income eligible grant. It's gonna be used based on income eligibility. It cannot be used on mobile homes. And I think a lot of we're not sure about how many of our grant applications came in on mobile homes. It can be only used on mobile homes or manufactured housing that is 10 years old, 10 years newer. It can't be used anything that's older than 10 years. So that may throw out some of the applications, it may not. The rest of the applications obviously are going to be income eligible. This will also be administered by Flatley Reed. They did a good job with this. If in the future we find that, and I haven't looked at any of the applications, so in the future, if we find that we have a need to go after some funding for manufactured housing that is older than 10 years old, we will do that. And but this will be our first opportunity to go through and start fixing up some places in town. So with that being said, the next 3 resolutions are resolutions that it's basically administrative resolutions we need to do so we can continue to move on with this. The first resolution allowed the supervisor enter a grant with Flatley Reed. They're agency that wrote the grant for CBG Housing Grant Administration and File Procurement that will occur in, this grant was initially applied for in April 2022, and we just got it this year. So we had a signed agreement back in 22. We're just gonna update the agreement to 2024. So I need permission to enter into a new agreement with them. Somebody wanna make that motion? Motion by John, second? Second by John to enter an agreement with Flattery Lead for the administration of the procurement of the housing grant. Any discussion? It's just an update of taking the 2022 agreement and bringing it up to language of 2024. And there are, all these grants have a time frame in there. So I think we have to have this grant all taken care of by 2025, I believe is what he told us today. I think that's what he said, right? Jimbo, you were there. 2025?
Right.
Yeah, so a motion and a second. Any, no discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. The next one will be a resolution to allow the town to enter an administrative services agreement with Flatley Reed for the New York Main Street. He's already reached out to the business owners. Anybody who is in the target area, which mainly is up by the bandstand, but anybody on Main Street can reach out to Flatley Reed and he'll talk to you about it. But if you aren't purposely in the target area, they may not be able to do anything the way the grant was written. So this is just to allow us to enter into another administrator grant for the Main Street project. So motion, second by Brian.
Yep.
Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay. This next one is to put out an RFP for environmental services, which includes lead testing and clearance, asbestos surveys, project monitoring and clearness, and specific site environmental reviews. This is for the housing grant. Before they can go into any house, they have to do all this environmental testing on that property. It's required by the grant, and we have to put an RFP out to get a company to come in and do this. It's not something the town will do. We're gonna hire somebody to come in, but these environmental standards need to be met before they can do any work on anybody's house. With these grant programs, there are restrictions on every bit of it, and in order for it to be done right, we have to have somebody with knowledge, and right now, Flatley Reed has a lot of knowledge in this stuff, but we are going to put out an RFP for environmental studies on all this stuff, and we have to do this. So this is not something we can let go. The reason why we're doing it so quickly is because we'll put out the RFP, and if we can get responses back by February, good. If not, if we get them back by March, it'll give us time to get this grant up and starting to move. But they have to go into every house and deal with all these things. It could be asbestos, could be lead paint, and everything. And the homeowner has to sign off on all this stuff. So it's complicated. We found that out today.
Which grant is this going?
This is the housing grant. This is the second one, the $500,000. This is for the individual homes. So
Just to be clear, that finding any of these things, lead pipes, asbestos, whatever, doesn't necessarily preclude them from getting.
oh, absolutely not. No, they'll be remediated.
So it's in their best interest to
Yeah.
I know.
The whole idea is getting a firm to come in that can remediate any problems they may run into. But we've got to put the RFP out to our RFP out to get somebody first. So, the motion? John? Second by Brian. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. For the next meeting, we'll have gone through the court docket and court records, and we will have an answer on how our court system is working at the next board meeting, okay? We've got to find a couple rookies that want to dive in and look at all that stuff.
I volunteer.
Next, I'd just like to spend a minute addressing the bus accident on the Northway, and I'd like to put my thoughts into that. I'd like to recognize and commend the Warrensburg Volunteer Fire Company, Warrensburg EMS, and how they handled the mass casualty bus accident on the Northway last Friday. The cooperation from all the first responders was remarkable, and there were a total of 12 EMS agencies, 2 fire companies, Warrensburg Central School, Lake George Central School, which each provided school buses to pick up the other people on the buses that may have been uninjured. They transported them to Lake George Firehouse. I also like to congratulate the police agencies, Warren County Sheriffs, and the state police. Some people said they saw more state police cars on the Northway than they've ever seen before, but I don't know where they all came from. Glens Falls Hospital, they handled the influx of patients very professionally. There was no glitches at the hospital. They did an excellent job. And the Fort William Henry, who stepped up and provided food and lodging for all the people who were stranded up here, and the Red Cross. And the Red Cross stepped up, but then Fort William Henry stepped up and said, no, they can come stay at our hotel. And that's on a Friday night when they're trying to drum up business. They opened up their hotel down there and kept the people who wanted to stay. And they had an option. And I think they let them stay a couple extra days if they wanted to stay a couple extra days. And then the LifeNet helicopter was called to transport 1 patient to Albany Medical Center. He's in pretty tough shape. I think he's in Albany Med right now. That went without a glitch. You know, they had to land a helicopter on the Northway and pick up 1 patient and transport him to Albany Med. And like I said, the Red Cross at Fort William Henry was just outstanding. And unfortunately, there was 1 fatality, and obviously we feel sorry for that family. I don't have much information on that. But last but not least, I'd like to recognize Warren County Sheriff's Department Communications Center. It's not every day you get a mass casualty accident out there that they have to handle, but they handle it professionally, and they are the true professionals. I have been in the comm center, communication center, probably in the last 2 months. The amount of technology they have there to watch over when they're dispatching calls or EMS or fire calls, even police calls, it's just amazing. And the technology upgrades they have made over the years, I can remember going there 30, 40 years ago. I'm not even sure if we had computers 30, 40 years ago, but you know, it's a guy sitting behind a microphone, but now they have like 7 or 8 different screens, and they can pinpoint where you are. The technology has come where, you know, they know who's making the calls, they know where you are, but just to watch them, and in this situation, they stayed calm. And to get 12 ambulances there out of Warren County, all the ambulances came from Warrensburg EMS agencies, which is amazing in itself. They didn't have to go outside of county lines to get the agencies in is pretty remarkable. So my hat's off to everybody who was involved in that situation. It went pretty smoothly for what they had. I don't know if any of you saw the location of where the bus rolled over. It was very close to those bridges down there. You know, it's a tight location, and they did remarkably well. So, like I said, I'd just like to recognize them. I believe the county is going to recognize them in the future, and I've heard other town boards have been mentioning it because they all came together. There's no hooting and tooting. Everybody acted professionally, and they got the job done. So my hat's off to them. Next, we have a resolution to pay bills on warrant number 1. Tonight, we have a total bills of $102,167.19. It's the beginning of the year, and we'll start right over. And I appreciate all the people who come in and paid their taxes, and those that don't, hurry on in because we could use the funds, because we did have a big warrant last month and we spent a lot of money. But Motion to pay the bills on warrant number 1. Motion by John. Second. Second by Robert, to pay the bills on warrant number 1 in the amount of $102,167.19. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Okay. Okay, I'll take comments from the audience. Anybody wish to address the board on any subject?
I just have a quick. Fire alarm. Okay. Joyce Reed. Just a quick question on the CBDG grant. When we first initially applied, it was like 300,000. And now it's up to 500,000. Is the applicants, can people still apply? Or is that just the applicants that applied?
Right now, I forget, I don't know, I can't tell you how many people applied, but we got to go through a qualification process with everybody apply. We're not accepting any new grants at this time.
Okay, no, okay. I just
We,
in case people call, it's just nice to know.
we just learned about it today. The details is, the devil's always in the details. And right now, first thing we got to do is go through and segregate the people that we know don't qualify. They may be in manufactured housing that isn't eligible for this funding. Once we do that, then we'll sort out all the applications, and then we'll put together a group. We're not participating. Usually the town won't. We'll get a team to go in there. We won't know who the applicant is. They'll score the applicant based on what the criteria is given to us by Flatley Reed, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, thanks.
So it's blind. It's not a favoritism type application. It's strictly blind applications.
Perfect, thank you.
And it's not going to be where John has his favorites, I have my favorites, Brian has his favorites, Rob has his favorites, or Jocko has his favorites. That's not the way it works. We won't be involved in it. Anybody else? Any questions? Mr. Hall?
I just would add to that what you're talking about.
Yes, go ahead. You were there, so you know a lot.
There's a misconception around town with some people that they're gonna bring a Brinks truck park out here, you're just gonna come down and sign a piece of paper and get 20 grand and walk away. There's all kinds of hoops that you jump through to get this money. They don't give anybody a dime for anything, not a penny, until it's accounted for and the work is done, and there's a lot to this. So the people that are out talking to people about these grants, there's no Brinks truck gonna be here, and you just come down and get 20 grand. There's a lot of paperwork, a lot of hoops you gotta go through, because it's taxpayers' money, and they wanna know where it's going and who's gonna get it, and if the work is done correctly. That's like with the lead abatement and asbestos. And like Kevin said, it's a blind thing. When the committee looks at these things, all you're gonna say is there's a 97-year-old female needs a roof fixed. No address, no name, no nothing. You just look at the priorities, and that's the way it goes.
Right. And the whole idea behind this too, and the contractors they hire, the contractors have to be qualified, and they have to be willing to work. The contractors that work on these places put up all their own money. They put up their money first, and it's a reimbursement for the contractor. The town doesn't put out any money, but the contractor has to do the work and then apply to get reimbursed the money. So there are contractors out there. They have, Flatley Reed has done these grants in Essex County, Saratoga County, Washington County. So they're very well versed in that. And it was the right group to get in here to apply for the grant. So they're very well versed in it. And our role as the town is we're the ones to apply for it, but we'll take a back seat to what goes on and let them go. And this could be a great thing for many homes in our community. And then if we do see the need for the manufactured housing after we get through this, we discover we need that. Obviously, we'll jump on applying for more funding. How well we do on any of these grants is how well we'll be perceived in Albany the next time we apply. So we need to do a good job and do it right. And I think that's why we've been successful on all our water grants. We've always done them right, you know. And like I said last month, we saved about $60,000 or $70,000 on the cleaning, the dredging of our lagoons, which is good good for us. It'd save the people in the sewer district $60,000 or $70,000. And so I'm pretty stoked. We are applying for other grants. There's a couple other grants coming up. There may not be the home run grants, but if we can hit some doubles and singles, we'll be happy. We have some ideas of things we need to accomplish in town going forward before we hit the big ones. So seems to be a lot of grant funding out there, but there's always catches to everything you do. So it's a learning experience. It'll probably be a 2-year thing. It'll be our swan song, and I'll say goodbye to you after that. So 2 years, I'm out here. So anybody else? Yes. You got the library?
Jennifer Mary. Oh, what was it?
Oh, I didn't know if you had the library.
No. Just a quick question about the water line thing. So
Yes.
the pictures, is that just, so I think like on my house, we're in Oak Street and I can't really see where it goes in, but I know in my basement where it goes in, obviously. So like, where am I taking a picture? Maybe there's gonna be more details in the
That's
next
what we
bill,
want,
but,
where it comes through the wall, through your foundation.
okay, so
Yeah.
that's, okay.
If you could get, your water meter's gonna be there more than likely.
Right.
So what they're basically looking for is that pipe coming in and a good lit picture of it, so we can see the color of it.
Yeah.
Because they'd be able to identify by the color of it, if it's old galvanized or if it's copper. It's like it's supposed to be. Yeah.
But if you have any questions, call us. We'll come out and do it.
Very good. Thank you.
I got a picture.
You like being inside in the wintertime.
Not in all basements though.
Anybody else from the audience have any questions?
I want to ask you a question. We're going to enter into these agreements with administrative services with Flatley Reed.
Yeah.
Now you're saying you're updating from 2022?
Yeah.
So they had originally proposed to do the administration?
Yes.
And how much is this costing the town? Are they upgrading the cost or is it going to remain what it was in the original proposal?
I believe it's just a change in language and change in dates.
Okay, great.
Okay, yes.
Great. That's what I
Because
was because it
I
doesn't
think in
say, it
20
just says we're going to enter into an agreement. So I was just curious, how much is this agreement going to cost us?
No,
It was already approved.
it's language changes, yeah.
All right, perfect.
And
Thank you.
unfortunately, I didn't have time to get the 2022 one out and tell you.
I was just curious. Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Okay, Jack, anything you want to add tonight?
I can't wait to read the reports and stuff that you're throwing to the new guys. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that project.
There'll be a couple of them, so, yeah, no, it's good. It's good to learn a lot about how the courts operate, and then eventually you'll get the bookkeepers' books too to go over and see that, how that goes. Robert, any questions?
Well, this was my first meeting here. It was hard for me to follow. I got a lot to learn. It's just tough to follow this. That's it.
Okay. Brian?
Just one thing I mean to bring up to you, but every year there's a Warren County tax auction and properties get sold, some properties got sold. And about 50% of them that got sold are being worked on and fixed up. Some of the other ones, it seems to be a growing trend where bidders come, they buy it cheap, and then they just throw a for sale sign on it, and they don't do anything with it. So I'd like Warren County to start leaning on the bidders at the auction, because it's not just Warrensburg, it's countywide. I tracked some properties that I looked at years ago, haven't moved or haven't had anything done to them.
We passed the law that Jim proposed, we passed it, and then the committee, for some reason,
We said 18 months from the time that they buy it, they
had to get a CO.
They had to get a CO on it. And the county said, I believe they said 2 years. What I thought was the city of Newburgh did that. You have 18 months from the time you buy it at the auction to get a CO on it. If you don't, you lose your money. The house goes back to the city of Newburgh, they resell it and keep on trucking.
Over there in Warren Street, we got the one right in my neighborhood.
Yeah, well, there's several in town that people have bought.
if you would like,
They've been there,
if you would like to bring up the real
They don't
property
do
tax
anything.
comparison.
Yeah.
Because it's a real problem for us, and I don't know why they took it out. I mean, it was working, it was legal, we had it in our auction information, and then for some reason,
the county changed.
the county changed it. And,
But what happens with us is just like you're talking about. They buy them, they don't do anything with them.
Right.
We end up mowing the property, we end up boarding them up, we end up locking them up, we end up spending time and taxpayers' money there. For some guy that lives in
piece of Jesus somewhere and never comes back here.
Used to be, I'd go to those auctions, I'd know everybody in the room. Now it's just outside entities and they buy these things and just think they're gonna sit on.
I certainly will bring that back up.
Please do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John,
Nope, I'm okay.
anybody else tonight? Any subject? I thank you all for coming out and, I wish everybody the best and have a good new year. Thank you for coming. We are adjourned.